So we know what a mixed number is, and we know how to convert between mixed numbers and improper fractions. What if you want to do some arithmetic with mixed numbers? Now we've already said with improper fractions, arithmetic works exactly the same way as with regular fractions. But what do you do when you have mixed numbers? And the thing you always need to do, almost always, the way to be safe is always convert your mixed numbers to improper fractions and then just do your arithmetic the normal way. It can be quite difficult to especially multiply or divide mixed numbers without converting them to improper fractions. That's a recipe for disaster. So just always convert. Addition and subtraction, I would still suggest converting to improper fractions. It's just easier to always do that. So let me give you an example. Suppose we had something like 1 2/3, and we want to multiply by 3 1/7. Okay. So yeah, you don't want to try to do this multiplication just as it stands, and it certainly is not like 1 times 3 and then 2/3 times 1/7. That's not going to give you the right answer, actually. All right, so let's follow our own advice. Let's convert to improper fractions. So 1 2/3. So 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 5. So 5, and then you keep the same denominator, thirds. And here it's going to be sevenths, and it's going to be 22. Okay, so 5/3 times 22/7. Now we can just multiply them as usual. 5 times 22, work that out, that would be 110. 3 times 7 is 21. And so that is the answer as an improper fraction, but we would probably want to convert it back to a mixed number. One reason being because we were given mixed numbers, we should give our answer as a mixed number. So 21, we have to figure out how many times 21 goes into 110. If you can, maybe use a calculator to help you out here if you need it to, but if you don't have a calculator with you, which may be the case, you can guess maybe like 21 times 4 is 84. 21 times 5 is 105. That's close to 110. 21 times 6 is going to be too much. Yeah. So it's 5. So 21 goes into 110 5 times with a bit left over. We got to 105, so I guess 5 left over. So 5 and 5 21sts would be our answer. Okay. All right, so the numbers were a little big here, and so it took us a minute to convert back to a mixed number. But again, the point of this example was when you want to multiply two mixed numbers, first convert to improper fractions, do the procedure normally, and then maybe convert back to mixed numbers. Or actually, I shouldn't say maybe. You usually should do that. Let's do another one. 2 2/3 minus 1 1/5. Okay, so again, let's convert to improper fractions. This will be thirds. 6 plus 2 is 8. This will be fifths. 5 plus 1 is 6. So 8/3 minus 6/5. Okay. So now we subtract them as normal. But subtracting fractions as normal means getting a common denominator. I have 3, I have 5, so my common denominator could be 15. All right. So 3 times 5 gives me 15, so I'm multiplying by 5. 8 times 5 is 40. 5 times 3 gives me 15, so 6 times 3 gives me 18. So now finally I can do the subtraction. I can get the answer. It'll be 15ths, and 40 minus 18 is, I guess, 22, right? So 22/15 is an answer. It is the right answer, but it's in an improper fraction. I should convert it back to mixed numbers because that's what I started with. This one's a little bit more straightforward than the last one. 15 goes into 22. I can see that goes in one time, right? 2 times would be too much. It would get me to 30. It goes in one time, and then how much is left over? I guess 7, right? 7/15. So 1 7/15. Okay, so yeah, again, this is a place where students sometimes, if they haven't done this in a while, they try to do something directly with the mixed numbers, and that is usually going to end up being a problem. Only in a few cases will that actually work in some way if you do the right things, but I'm not even getting into that because it usually doesn't work, and this way always works. Convert to improper fractions, do your work, then convert back at the end. And let me just finish this with the point here is that the reason we have mixed numbers at all, because you might ask, well, why do we even have mixed numbers since they're not easy to work with? Because improper fractions are easier to work with. Mixed numbers, though, are easier to visualize, right? They're easier for you to think about and like grasp how much they are. 110 21sts, that's hard to think about. Most of us can't immediately think about that and picture how big that is. But 5 and 5/21, you see that and you immediately know, okay, it's 5 plus a little bit. So you can visualize 5 plus a little bit of something. So mixed numbers, that's why we use mixed numbers. They're kind of like decimals in that regard. They're closer to decimals in that you can immediately grasp how much they are. So they're easier to visualize or think about. And that's why we use them, but they're not good for actually doing the work. And improper fractions are the thing you want to be using to if you're actually doing the calculation.